Purchase, 2 guests can stay in the blimp at a time. The price, just $150 per night. The prize pack also includes tickets to see the University of Michigan and Notre Dame face off later this month and gear to cheer on your favorite team. Chances to book will roll out on the Airbnb website on October 15th. To score, Airbnb suggests fans keep their eyes on the listings all day long.
What a cool idea.
It is a cool idea.
We know a Notre
Again tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, Madison's $40 wheel tax proposal is hitting some bumps in the road. We'll tell you why Madison's mayor says the increase is necessary.
Police are looking for the person responsible for breaking into 2 homes in rural Rock County, why neighbors say they can't believe it happened there.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
And thanks for staying with News 3 Now. Madison's mayor says without the revenue from her new wheel tax proposal, the city could be looking at layoffs or dramatic cuts to other departments.
The Finance Committee tabled voting on the plan until tomorrow night amid some opposition from the public. Our Rose Schmidt is live to explain where the money would go. Rose?
The proposed wheel tax means people in Madison would be paying an extra $40 a year to register their vehicles and drive on roads like these. Some Common Council members say the wheel tax is inevitable, but they feel like $40 is just too high. The plan to raise vehicle registration fees or impose what's known as a wheel tax is one Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway says she wrestled with for months. She says state laws constrain how the city can raise revenue, so she feels the wheel tax is the only option available.
If we don't use a vehicle registration fee, we are almost certainly looking at layoffs. And to me, that's just not an option.
The proposal had a few bumps in the road this week. Common Council President Shiva Badar says the council has received emails from residents opposed to upping the wheel tax by $40. With the county and state also recently raising the fee, cars, vans, and SUVs would have an annual fee of $153. The city's finance committee delayed voting on it Thursday night, needing more time to make a decision. AAA has expressed concerns as well.
We really think that ultimately, when you're talking about a new tax like this on motorists, it should go before the voters, if not have, ample opportunity for public input.
The wheel tax proposal would generate about $8 million for transportation services like the bus rapid transit system, freeing up money for other departments. But if the council doesn't approve the tax or approves a smaller fee, the mayor says more dramatic cuts could be on the way. She said she asked each city department to tell her how they could make a 2.5% cut if necessary.
For example, the fire department offered to close a fire station as part of their cut. And the police department offered to lay off a number of officers and to eliminate the crossing guard program as part of their cut. I didn't choose to take either of those cuts in my executive budget for perhaps obvious reasons.
The Finance Committee is supposed to take up the wheel tax proposal tomorrow night. It would also have to be approved by the Common Council. Then it would take at least 3 months for it to go into effect. Now, a memo from the city attorney's office shows that currently the highest wheel tax in Wisconsin is $30 in Milton. That's compared to, of course, the $40 that Madison is proposing.
Rose Schmidt live in Madison. Rose, thank you.
Well, have we seen the last of these mild, sunny days? Let's get a look at your first alert weather with meteorologist Chris Reese. He is on the weather patio. Chris?
I think we at least see another mild day. As far as mild and sunny, well, Mother Nature, you're just going to have to take it up with her because the clouds are on the increase along with the chances for rain as we head into tomorrow. You're looking live to the west right now. You see that high cloud cover filtering in. Temperatures are into the upper 60s. This is after we saw a high into the low 70s. And those winds out of the south at 13 miles per hour is really helping to keep us mild out there. 70 right now still in Janesville. Boscobel also still at 70 degrees. But here's visible cloud track showing you more and more of that cloud cover working in from the south and west. So expect tonight to be mostly cloudy with the cloud cover. Will stay mild with those temperatures around 50, but into tomorrow, those rain chances will certainly be on the increase, especially into the afternoon. Beyond that, it is a roller coaster drop in temperatures. We're talking about perhaps cold wind chills by the time we get towards the weekend. That'll be in Maine weather, guys.
All right, thank you, Chris. A 9-year-old boy was killed after he was hit by a Sheboygan garbage truck this morning. Police say the truck, driven by a 35-year-old city employee, was driving northbound when he made a right turn to head east. The boy had been biking northbound on the same street. The child was a student at a local school, and police believe he was on his way to school at the time of the collision. The Wisconsin State Patrol is investigating because it was a city-owned vehicle involved in the crash.
A teenager was taken into custody after a shooting in Sun Prairie last night. Officers with the Sun Prairie PD were sent to the Element apartment building. This was about 10:30 last night. Police say they found a 23-year-old man with a gunshot wound to his upper arm. He was taken to a hospital and is listed as stable. The victim's 16-year-old brother was later taken into custody during a traffic stop in Fond du Lac County at about 3 in the morning. That teen tentatively being charged with first-degree reckless endangering safety.
Police in Rock County say they're in need of help following a string of home break-ins.
They're now searching for whoever broke into 2 homes in rural Janesville. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter visited the community where those burglaries happened and joins us from our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with why neighbors there say they can't believe it. Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, the Rock County Sheriff's Office says 2 separate home break-ins happened just about a mile down the road from one another on West Mineral Point Road in Janesville over the weekend. Now, today I went to the area and spoke with some of the neighbors there who say this is a relatively quiet place where things like this don't usually happen. Police say they're not sure quite yet if these 2 burglaries are related, but neighbors say this is changing their outlook of the street.
I don't know. I still don't know what to think. Well, you got to keep everything locked up tight. I don't know if that does any good. And just be cautious. You're going to have to anywhere you live in anymore, I guess, today.
The Rock County Sheriff's Office says they're now relying on tips to move this investigation forward, and they're asking anyone who has any information that could be beneficial to them to send that to the Rock County Sheriff's Office non-emergency line or the Janesville Area Crime Stoppers. We have links to both of those phone numbers on our website, channel3000.com.
Adam Duxter live in Rock County. Adam, thank you.
The Dodge County Sheriff's Office is investigating a rash of road sign thefts. Deputies say 20 signs have been taken in the town of Hustisford over the past year. That's about $3,000 worth of road signs. Barricades and warning flashers have also gone missing. The Sheriff's Office says the cost to replace the signs will fall on taxpayers. If you have any information regarding the thefts, you're asked to call the Dodge County Sheriff's Office.
Madison School District, of course, always looking for ways to close the achievement gap among its students. New data shows they are lagging when it comes to making sure all of their children are ready for college. Data presented to the school board at its most recent meeting shows more than half of the students in advanced placement classes are white, only 11% are black, 17% are Latinx. That's disproportionate to the demographics of the student body as a whole. And in a statement, the district said they are working with an equity partner called Equal Opportunity Schools to help address it and provide professional learning for high school staff to better understand which students aren't being served, which barriers might be in the way, and which outreach strategies they can use.
The visually impaired and blind community has a message for drivers in Madison today.
It comes ahead of White Cane Safety Day. Madeline O'Neill tells us what that means, how you can help pedestrians stay safe. Maddie?
Eric and Susan, White Cane Safety Day is celebrated on October 15th. It recognizes the achievements of the blind and visually impaired community while serving as an important reminder. Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway held a conference today highlighting an accessible pedestrian signal crosswalk while talking about the White Cane Law. Now, the law means if drivers see a person in the street carrying a cane or using a service animal, they have to stop before getting within 10 feet of that person. The president of the Wisconsin Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired says despite pedestrian signals being on, drivers go through crossings daily.
While those of us who are blind and visually impaired are using a lot of our tools and our training to pass safely, we really need drivers to yield so that we know we can pass.
The mayor spoke about working with work crews to assist blind people navigating through pedestrian walkways during construction. And she also spoke about city goals to improve accessibility to bus routes and pedestrian areas over the next 5 years. And again, White Cane Safety Day will be celebrated nationally on Tuesday.
All right, Madeline, thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Breast cancer survivors are meeting with lawmakers at the state capitol. Dozens of survivors talked to lawmakers today about critical issues related to screening and treatment for breast cancer. The Wisconsin Breast Cancer Coalition is pushing for the Wisconsin Well Women program to be expanded. The federally funded program covers the cost of cervical and breast cancer screenings for women living below the poverty line.
Almost every person in Wisconsin has been touched by breast cancer. Either they've struggled with it, they've survived, they've died, or they've had family members who have struggled with it. So it's a very crucial issue right now, and there are so many things that we can do.
Advocates are also pushing to get insurance companies to cover the cost of additional screenings for women with dense breast tissue who are at an increased risk for cancer.
Former Congressman Sean Duffy's 9th child was born with Down syndrome and will require open heart surgery in 3 or 4 months. Duffy's wife, Rachel Campos Duffy, posted on Facebook that their daughter, Valentina Stella Maris Duffy, was born with 2 holes in her heart that will require open heart surgery as expected. Congressman Duffy resigned last month to spend more time with his family. There will be a special election to replace him in the 7th Congressional District, which includes northern, central, and northwestern Wisconsin.
If your commute takes you along US 14 and Humes Road in Janesville, you'll need to find an alternate route. Both lanes of 14 will be closed from 7 o'clock tonight until tomorrow night as crews work to install steel girders for the northbound interstate bridge that will go over that road. Madison College started a new food pantry with non-perishable items for students. Those with a valid student ID who are enrolled in at least 1 degree credit course are able to access the Truax campus food pantry. Students can take up to 10 pounds of food 1 time per week for free. The student pantry is open Tuesdays from noon to 2 and Wednesdays from 9 to 11 in the morning. The 4 regional campuses at Watertown, Portage, Reedsburg, and Fort Atkinson also have food pantries that are open to students.
Packers running back Aaron Jones is the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys in the big win on Sunday, 107 rushing yards, along with 8 catches for 75 yards. The Packers will take on the Lions, first place on the line in the NFC North. That's Monday Night Football, 7:15 kickoff. And more to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, a Southwest Wisconsin first responder making some history. We'll share how in a story you'll only see on News 3 Now.
And coming up at 6, a Jefferson County program is helping families get trained service dogs without the financial burden, what it means for one local family. Coming up at 6.
And a quick check of the markets during midweek trading. The Dow bounces back today, adding 182 points. The Nasdaq up 80 at the closing bell. The S&P jumped 26. We'll be right back. Lawmakers are holding a ceremony at the state capitol tomorrow to recognize first responders all across the state for their service.
In southwest Wisconsin, a big family, 800 people strong, will be rooting for one of their own, making history for his commitment. Only our Leah Linscheid has that story from Highland.
If you take a minute.
Just like any other kids growing up.
And think about
we had the
your dad.
Backyard swimming pool, and he was the one that taught us how to float in the pool.
He might sound something like Al Mitchick.
Hustling around on the floor, rolling with him at the end of the day after supper, you know.
Al's family thinks of him as their caretaker growing up.
We'd be eating supper or going to a ball game or maybe even going to church, and
he jumps up and all of a sudden he's heading out of the house and Terrors are heading out of the garage.
Turns out Al was caretaker to a bigger family too.
He was very active in the first responders, and maybe he wasn't here when we had to do something or whatever, but he was helping somebody else.
Al was one of Highland's first EMTs.
Or the defib still hanging on the wall up there.
That was back in 1972.
Whether you're shocked or not shocked.
But this isn't a story about an end of watch. Far from it. Al's service to his whole family is still going strong. In year 47, to be exact.
I wouldn't have that if it wasn't for my wife and my family backing me up.
At 80 years old, after nearly half a century, Al is the longest-serving active first responder in Wisconsin. State lawmakers will mark that milestone with a ceremony Thursday.
I never wanted any glory for it, and still don't, because I just want to help people.
Al won't say it's easy.
You do what you got to do, and you get home, you can cry.
After all, even dads cry sometimes.
I don't forget a lot of them. I've had more than once. One night I even sat down in the emergency room and cried against the wall.
That's probably part of growing up in a small town. You know, everybody looked after everybody, and that's the way life was. And still is, you know, in the small towns.
Yeah. People have about 10 numbers on their numbers, and he's got 4.
Al isn't quite done looking after his hometown.
I got another year left on my license.
He'll renew it after that, too, God willing.
They want me to, anyway.
You gotta be careful what you wish for.
Because, as he sees it, this dad's job isn't done yet.
As long as I'm still able to do it, I want to keep doing it.
In my hometown of Highland, I'm Leah Linscheid for News 3 Now.
Thank you, Leah. Al is proud that his family has continued to carry on his legacy in Highland. When he stepped down as chief 5 years ago, his son Neil took over. He also counts 5 nieces and nephews that have followed in his footsteps as first responders, along with several grandchildren.
All right, let's get a look at your first alert weather. Meteorologist Chris Reese joining us in studio with your forecast. Chris?
Hey guys, it was a very warm day. Temperatures made it to 70 for the high here in Madison, 72 for our friends in Janesville. Boscobel also made it to 72. Decorah, Prairie du Chien, Platteville, a lot of folks made it into the 70s for those highs today. Our normal high should have been right around 62, but this warm weather is doing some great things for the tree color out there. Those leaves absolutely love this. In fact, this kind of weather is really what you need for good red and purple. Now, the orange and yellow, those happen regardless, just as the sun angle gets lower in the sky. But those crisp, cool nights that we've had and those dry, bright, sunny, mild days, this is how you really get the reds and the purples to show up. And this is also the kind of weather that has allowed a lot of those trees to peak, especially throughout central and northern Wisconsin. Now, as you work your way towards the southern half of the state, or the southern tier of the state, a lot of those trees haven't truly shown out yet, but I do think that's coming. We're starting to see more and more of the leaf colors change out there. The only problem is rain and much colder temperatures are on the way. Of course, you don't want to frost, and I think that's going to be possible. We're mild out there now. Temperatures are still in the 60s and even some low 70s still, but the cloud cover is on the increase, folks. We're going to be watching more and more of that cloud cover move in, and chances for rain will be on the way as well. Now, high pressure is over towards our east. We have low pressure towards our south and west together. That's kept that warm southerly wind in play for us. Back towards towards the north and west. There's a cold front, and that is where the cold air is locked up. But all of that is going to be on the way. Oddly enough, the region of low pressure just east of the Rockies, along with this front, are going to be coming together, and you're going to create a powerhouse of a storm system that's going to roll through the upper Midwest, likely bringing a blizzard to the Dakotas. As for us, we're going to be looking at kind of a windy rain as we head into Thursday. By Friday, the cold air comes in, but it's not just the cold. We are certainly going to be breezy as well. Let's go ahead and show you that cold air that's on the move from Canada right now, already into parts of Montana. Towards Saturday, I think the core of that cold really settles in over us, and then it starts to relax a little bit, but we're going to stay under the influence of that cold air really through the week before we start to see a mild up as we get you towards next weekend. Check out the temperatures across the upper part of the country right now. 69 in Sioux Falls, Glasgow, Montana at 31. We put this into motion as we head towards the weekend. Watch this, Thursday. That's your last mild day. Then we get you into Friday, starting things out around 60, but then into the 40s. By the time we get you towards Friday afternoon, you factor in the fact that things are going to be breezy and your wind chills are into the 30s and 20s as we head into the weekend. So certainly have a jacket going through the weekend, folks. Tomorrow, on the other hand, it's not the jacket, but the umbrella that you will need, especially into the afternoon. Look for those rain chances starting to increase from west to east throughout the evening commute. You'll also see those rain chances as we go through Friday, and then they'll start to come to an end as we head into your Saturday. More sunshine, though, will take over as we head towards next week. We just have to get through this really chilly weekend before we see those temperatures recover into the 50s with another slight chance of showers by next Saturday. We're watching traffic for the folks getting ready to head home this afternoon and evening. This is the Belt Line at Todd Drive. Things are moving, but of course your traffic volume is on the increase. Where things are slowing down, you're looking at slow down speeds to about 19 or 20 miles per hour on the Belt Line. We're also seeing more brake lights as you head downtown, especially around campus. A lot of walkers and bikers, so please be attentive in that area. Outside of that, you're just going to need a little bit of patience as you head home today, but we can do this, folks.
Chris.
Still ahead of News 3 Now at 5, a Democratic candidate for president is calling for President Trump to be impeached. We'll tell you who it is. The latest after this. Presidential candidate Joe Biden now says Congress should impeach President Trump because of his call for foreign powers to interfere and investigate him.
He believes he can and will get away with anything he does. He's shooting holes in the Constitution, and we cannot let him get away with it.
President Trump soon responded on Twitter, quote, "So pathetic to see sleepy Joe Biden calling for my impeachment, and I did nothing wrong." Yesterday, the Trump administration sent a letter to congressional Democrats saying they would not comply with the inquiry that it calls unconstitutional.
I think the American people have a profound sense of fairness, and I think that they know a sham investigation when they see it, and they know a kangaroo court when they see it.
The president continues to label his rivals as do-nothing Democrats and says their total focus is on the 2020 election. Democrats say it's the president who is focused on 2020 as the Trump campaign has spent more than $700,000 on Facebook ads this week alone.
Turkish forces have launched a military operation against Kurdish fighters in northern Syria. The military offensive comes just days after the Trump administration abruptly withdrew U.S. troops from the region near the Syrian border. Republican lawmakers who have blasted the pullout of U.S. forces worry about the Kurdish fighters who have been a strong U.S. ally in battling ISIS.
We're getting out of the endless wars. We have to do it. And eventually somebody was going to have to make the decision.
I hope that Turkey, when they go into Syria, they won't slaughter the Kurds. And I will say this to the president. It would be hard to protect America without allies over there. And the Kurds have been good allies.
President Trump says there are no American troops in the area where the incursion is taking place and says it's holding Turkey to its commitment to protect civilians.
And stay with us. We'll have another check of your forecast when we return.
Tonight on the CBS Evening News, President Trump is accused of abandoning a key U.S. ally now under attack in Syria. Why one of his closest advisors says his decision will be the biggest mistake of his presidency. Eye on America goes undercover and finds black market vaping products that contain deadly pesticides and even cyanide. We've got those stories and so much more tonight on the CBS Evening News.
Chris Reese joining us again, and we've had 3 great days together. It could be a lot worse. We have some video where we can show you it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, we were waiting to see if we could show him that video from Montana where it's snowing. There we go.
It's certainly snowing.
That's a live picture.
Southwest of Billings down there, not far from Yellowstone.
We're not getting that yet. In the
goodness.
meantime, we're going
better
to stay,
be a while.
We're staying mild tonight. Look for temperatures falling down towards about 50 degrees. Clouds, they'll be on the increase.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Well, we'll see you in 30 minutes for News You Now at 6. Stay tuned for the CBS Evening News.